located 26 miles north of Chicago. Multiple surrounding Chicago area communities said they would cancel their 4th of July festivities. That's your 104.5 The Flame News Update. I'm Lisa Stewart.
The D.L. Hughley Show
on 104.5
Flame, the hottest R&B hits and oldies.
This is a paid advertisement. It does not represent the views of WFLM ownership, management, or staff.
This is the Cleveland Gary Show on 104.5 WFLM, The Flame.
Hi, I'm Cleveland Gary. Welcome to Beyond Sports. Tonight we have an amazing show. We have, of course, with us Mr. Bill Houston out of Louisville, Kentucky. We have Davina Smith out of Virginia. We also have Ms. Julia Rogers out of Baltimore, Maryland. I'm hoping my partners, and I won't use the word, you should say that back in the day. Doesn't sound nice, does it? Partners. That's what we used to say back in the day. But anyway, we're going to have an amazing show. Waiting for Ms. Rogers to come on the air here. I'm excited. I haven't talked with you all in a few days. How's everything going, guys? What's up? What's going on? Any news? Anything new happening on the block?
Yeah, everything's going really well. Little warm today. Looks like it's about 99 degrees at 7 o'clock at night, so that's pretty warm. But but it's good. I don't really get out much. Just been really busy, kind of keeping up with the business world, where things are going. Really excited to see how the world is going to proceed as we go into this little economic downturn. But anytime we have these downturns, there's always opportunity. So really looking for those opportunities.
What's been cooking in the kitchen, Davina Smith?
All is well on this end. Just really looking forward to
collard greens, rice. I mean that literally. So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I haven't had anything really good. No barbecue yesterday, so.
What about you? No barbecue.
No barbecue yesterday.
You didn't have any barbecue on the 4th of July? Can you hear us, Bill?
No barbecue. It was too hot to barbecue yesterday. I don't know if that's a good excuse or not, but no barbecue yesterday.
You know what I had a taste for on 4th of July? I mean, really bad. Well, you don't know. I'm asking you, do you know? I would ask you. That's just a figure of speech, but I'm going to tell you anyway. I had a taste for Rice Krispies with bananas, and I used, coconut milk. I was using almond milk, but coconut milk, put a little bit of water in it, Bill, slice of bananas up in that Rice Krispies. Now, I'm not talking about the Rice Krispies without the sugar. I'm talking about the Rice Krispies that have a little sugar on top of them. I can eat a big, gigantic bowl of that with bananas. Have you ever had Frosted Flakes with bananas or Rice Krispies with bananas? I even eat Fruity Pebbles with bananas. Seriously, it ain't funny. It's good. I have eaten a whole box of Fruity Pebbles with bananas. Seriously, I'm not kidding. I'm keeping it real. It may have taken me, I don't know, 3 rounds. I can do it. Have you ever done anything like that, Davina? Bill?
Well, you have a lot of background noise going on when you talk.
I do?
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's what is it? Is that okay now?
No.
That's not okay. Oh wow. I apologize. Give me 1 second here. Is that better?
Much better.
Oh wow. Okay. Sorry about that. I do apologize. I had my fan on. It's so hot here in Florida. Man, I needed my air, but okay. I'll struggle. It's hot up. It's hot up in this house. Let me be quiet. But anyway, I said what's cooking in the kitchen. I wasn't talking about food, literally. But anyway, we've had very interesting week. Hope everybody's 4th of July was nice. You know, hope everybody ate as much food as they wanted to eat. I'm sure the black eyed peas, the collard greens, the cabbage, the barbecue ribs, the hot dogs, hamburgers were all on the grill. And I'm sure people ate so much, they probably have not even digested all that food from yesterday. And some of those who are big eaters are probably finishing up the baked beans and hot dogs as we're talking right now. So have at it. Enjoy yourself. That's what the 4th of July is all about. Speaking of 4th of July, what's the relevancy behind the 4th of July? Why is it important that we celebrate? Okay, we just had Miss Julia Rogers. She just came into the picture and she is going to be fined. And I'm not playing. You think I'm kidding? I ain't kidding. But anyway, what is the relevancy behind the 4th of July, Bill?
The 4th of July is the day that independence was declared from the British colony. I tell you, I think that most people know so little about history anymore that maybe it's just a time for fireworks and parades and those kinds of things. But you know, it's definitely a time for the American experiment to begin. You know, the American experiment hasn't necessarily been perfect, but it has been interesting, and it's been a very interesting ride. So I think the 4th of July is kind of the for me anyway, it's kind of the celebration of that experiment as we continue to get better at the American experiment.
Yeah. Julie, I just want you to know on air that we've had, you know, behind the scenes, we have meetings, of course, you know, those of you business owners and sit in boardrooms or on Zoom calls or on the phone. You talk to your partners and your associates about business and ideas and making it happen. And sometimes it's not always pretty. But one thing I could say about Julie is she's a force to be reckoned with. She is, and I definitely like having her on my team. There's an old saying, you give people their flowers, you know, while they're living. And business is never easy. It's not perfect, but we know we live in a world that's deemed as capitalistic, and that's from the inception of time. And so it's nice to not take things personal. And the more you do it, it's like habitual. It becomes, you know, you practice at something so much, you learn how to get to the bottom by conversing effectively, which means when I say conversing effectively, it doesn't mean everything comes out and it's right and it's perfect. Because if you had everybody on your team that just agreed with everything you say, you're going to fail. So you need people like Julie, who is strong. She's rooted in the ground and she only wants the best. And I say this all the time in the world of business because we can look at it from a pragmatic point of view and say, you know, well, you know, I'm in it for the sake of the team and I just want to help people and I just want to give back. I just want to make the world a better place. But technically, you can't make the world a better place if you can't help make yourself better. So let's just can that. I mean, we're politically saying the right things, but you know, you have to be able to be in a position to help yourself in order to help other people. And Julie stands for wanting to make a difference, and we've really literally been going at it lately. You know, we've agreed and disagreed on so much lately. It's just it's just like I throw in the towel. But you know, at the end of the day, that's what makes you better. That's what makes your A game, you elevate it. Because you can put yourself in a place of complacency when you're on one track versus several tracks. It takes a team to win a Super Bowl. It takes a consortium of people to build a Fortune 500 company. And if you got some tough cookies in there that's on your team, you got different personalities, you have different outlooks on things, but most importantly, you care about getting the end result, taken care of. And I'm not just saying this on there to say it. I just want to say to you that I appreciate it. I'd never take anything when it comes to business personal. You only want to do what's best for the team. And there's things that I'm gung-ho about and I'm adamant about, and she has her point and I have my point. But at the end of the day, I'll give you a prime example. There's just some stuff she's right about, and I don't have an ego to say, okay, no, it's going to be done my way or the highway. That's not how you live it. You live your life, and that's not how you do business. And if you truly care about humanity, you want to make sure you be a good listener. And I just want to say, some things she said to me today, and we've been having differences about it. And she's right. She's right as it relates to certain things we'll have to discuss here on the air. And I had to take my time, take 2 steps back, do a little bit of research. And I said, you know what? You're right. Let's look more into this deeper, and let's research it a little bit more deeper, because at the end of the day, this is all about winning. If one person wins and the other persons lose, that winner is a loser. All right. But if he doesn't think he's a loser, he or she is a very selfish person. Because I believe, as playing sports, it teaches you a lot how to work with people that are very talented and as equally as talented. And a person may be talented in one position, but can never play your position. And you may get all the limelights and the adulations for your particular position because, you're the one that's scoring the touchdowns. But in reality, without that player that you never hear about, does his job every day and paved the way for you to score those touchdowns, I would never get in the end zone because I can't do this by myself. So it takes a tremendous amount of humility and understanding when you're working with people, the importance of being a great listener and giving everybody a chance, and I think as a CEO, I've learned a lot, and all that I've learned was not pleasant, but I'm probably more grateful for the unpleasant experiences than I am for the pleasant experiences, because it's the unpleasant experiences that have taught me how to even be a greater listener and try to understand how that other person feels and what they're thinking and their opinions and their views. And sometimes that's the direction we need to go. I'm not saying all the time, but that's what it's all about. But if you got a heart that's open, you got a heart that's forgiving, that's what makes, I think, a champion a champion. You can't take it personal. So I've elongated this conversation in that particular area, but we're going to move the ball forward here because we got a lot to do, a lot to talk about. And Julie, I'm going to give you the ball in your Go ahead, girl.
Go, girl. You go, girl. No, I just want to say, they say iron sharpens iron. What they don't say is that sometimes when iron is sharpening iron, sparks fly. But that Bible also says, let us reason together one with another. And the only other thing that I want to say is, we have 4 great minds on the line right now, and great minds all to come together. But what I do believe is true is that the vision is bigger than all of us. And the vision of the Black Shopping Channel is bigger than a Cleveland Gary, it's bigger than a Davina Julie. It's just bigger. It's bigger than, and I love the idea that the sum of the combined parts is greater than the whole. And if it wasn't worth anything, it wouldn't be worth fighting over. It's really quite that simple. And we always, this is the way I am in relationships. In relationships, I am always, the problem is the enemy, not each other. Because, if I make you wrong, you make me wrong, we never solve anything. Right. But when we realize that when a problem is presented, or challenge, I should say, not even a problem, just a challenge. A challenge is presented. If the quickest way to be defeated in the challenge is to make each other the enemy, because that's because the devil is a liar and the father of lies. So he will deceive you and say, you're good and he's bad, or he's bad or he's good and you're bad. And now you're distracted from the main thing. And the
Hey.
main thing is to make it, to be successful, and to win. That's the main thing. All the rest of it is noise and pestilence. And, so I'm good, and I appreciate you. I appreciate what you had to say. And I return the sentiment mutually. And we get in there and we duke it out and we solve it, because at the end of the day, this thing's gonna fly. At the end of the day, we're gonna win. At the end of the day, everybody is going to be successful. I love you. I love you like my luggage. And
Julie, I got to say,
a quote from Steel Magnolia is
Julie,
one
I
of
gotta
my
say that.
favorite things.
I'm going to intervene here. If I got to turn my back and fight the war of four corners, and I know I got my one corner, I
Got your
trust.
flank, got your flank.
So let's fight it.
Yeah, you the leader, we your flank. And the bottom line is the flank position is so important, because the one at your flank is seeing things coming from left, right, and center, while your eye is focused on the God and the prize. And so that's the way that the team is supposed to work. I know my position.
I hear you. I hear you. Got you. On that note, Mrs. Rogers, I'm going to pause for a minute, and I'm going to move over to the left, because I know with you on the air, there's more to say. So Davina Smith, Dr. Davina Smith, let's talk a little bit about what's been going on with you, your ideas as far as the launch, what you're doing, what you think can be done to make this better, more amenable, more plausible for the vendors and what have you. The fight is, what is old saying? The dog is in the fight is not in the dog, or something to that.
It's not the size, the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog.
And Davina represents the size of the fight in the dog. So let's talk. Let's talk.
Yeah, I mean,
He may not say a whole lot, but I tell you, boy, she's a person of substance. And so it's good to have her. You need different personalities. So what's cooking? What do we got to do? Where are we going? How excited are you?
Oh, I am so excited. I'm so excited. I've been telling anybody and everybody that'll listen, and they're excited, and they're just ready to see this thing launch. I'm ready to see it launch. So yeah, I mean, I wake up in the middle of the night like, oh, that's a good idea. I mean, I'm excited. I am really excited.
You know what? And, if I jump on the head of the word excitement and I bounce over to Bill Houston, he's going to even make it more exciting, because he and I are in the trenches as well. And lately we've been talking in an area that I'm very passionate about. There's an old saying, the devil is in the details. And on that notion, Bill is very excited to teach business classes to those entrepreneurs who need some help, or who wants to participate and even raise their A game in business as it relates to writing a business plan, understanding the mechanics behind the business plan, knowing what a mission statement should be like, and understanding that the executive summary inside of that business plan is very important. It's essential. It's vital. And also having other areas of business, financial statements, understanding financial statements, and understanding the various positions you need in your business to grow revenues, understanding capitalistic needs in that business as well. And that goes over into an area for startup businesses who need $100,000 or $200,000. Bill will be talking a lot about the BSC, right on the top of my head. What's the word?
Crowdfunding.
Crowdfunding. I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry. I'm talking about numbers. Okay, yeah, and crowdfunding. So we just want to make sure at every level that we cover the bases here, and vendors we give you every opportunity and chance to succeed. So Bill, you may want to expand upon your excitement about helping these small business in their startup phase, 1/4 down the road, and what have you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really exciting to me. The last couple of years I've been working on some projects, kind of specifically focused focused on small Black businesses. And, we talk a lot about capital and access to capital. And one of the things that I find is really understanding the business planning process, understanding where it is that I want to end up. And then once I know where I want to end up, kind of backing my way out of that and understanding the steps that I need to take in order to get there is something that's, that's very important. And, that whole business planning process, learning and understanding the numbers. One of the things that I find is very interesting and it's kind of funny is everybody wants to be in business, but nobody wants to deal with the numbers in business, right? And, I find that to be so true because, a lot of times it can seem difficult and overwhelming until you really kind of sit down and learn what everything means. When you look at your profit and loss statement. And I think it's really important, especially coming from, from our community, because, business is not necessarily something that we sit around the table and talk about. So really making sure that I understand, what's behind the business. It's kind of like the movies. Everybody wants to be, the movie star and you see the movie, but the real work is done behind the camera, right? And that's all of the work that's done there is what brings you to that final production that looks really good. And, I really love kind of drilling down into the business planning process, into the financial planning, and really understanding, where it is that I want to get to as the business and how I need to get there and understand all the steps in that process and that it is a process. I think we said this once before is that, if you're just in business to kind of make money, that's going to be good while you're making money. But when things get bad, there's nothing there to motivate you to do this. And, I tell you, you really have to love and enjoy what it is that you do to really put in the effort necessary to be successful in business. And, that's something that I love talking about and really excited to really bring these classes to the forefront and, help these businesses really get where they need to be.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's the details. It's the part that I enjoy most. I'm very excited. And when Bill and I talk about this, it's just, we can talk about it forever. Because at the end of the day, you want to be profitable. You're in this to be profitable. And talk is cheap, but when you get down to the numbers, the logistics, and you're putting together your business plan, you talk about income statements, cash flow statements, and balance sheets, understanding, how to position them to be successful. And behind those financial statements, a lot of details, as it relates to working in business, when you look at cost of products, cost of service, it's all tied to how you manage the growth of that business. It's essential. You look at your G&A expenditures from your rent, your electric, all those variables are taken into consideration when you're talking about being profitable. At the end of the day, you want positive EBITDA. No matter what anyone says. And I mean, as you grow your business up the ladder and you start looking for even bigger money, then you're going to learn the importance of how liquidity ratios are vital in the aspects of even growing more capital for your business. So it's the little things. That's why I say earlier, you got to always be open to listen in order to learn, because that's the only way you're going to grow. And so it's very, very important because business can be very tricky. Even when you look at running your company, understanding how if you want to get more technical about it, understanding how the overall economy works too, because it has a tremendous impact on interest rates. It has a tremendous impact who's going to be loaning money. It has a tremendous impact as it relates to should you take on more equity and debt. There's so many variables that you have to take into consideration if you want a profitable business at the end of the day. And those that have done it for many, many, many years, you're still learning. You never, ever master the art of business, regardless if you have a $1 market cap, $100 market cap, $1,000 market cap, $1 million market cap, $100 million market cap, or $1 billion market cap. You will never master this beast, but you can become better and better at it. And the only way you're going to do that You got to have an open mind and a willingness to learn. And under that notion, there are so many detailed variables that goes into understanding how to be profitable. That's why some small business owners have what is called, more sustainability, and they're growing incrementally even in the downturn of a market, because they've listened and they've learned on how to maneuver, Bill, and make the adjustments. And even in, you can go to school every day. You can go to every business school class you want to go to. They can teach you the fundamentals of marketing, accounting, economics, even statistics, forecasting. They can teach you all of those things. But if you don't have an innate feel for how to make an adjustment, you will fail, period. Some people have never went to advanced school and was very successful, but they had a willingness to learn what they needed to learn to avoid the pitfalls. And so I'm excited about, Bill, what you will be doing inside of the realm of BSC as well as ECRIT, and teaching the fundamental aspects of business and how to grow your business, how to make adjustments in certain markets, how to understand, the difference of pouring under pressure in the area of equity versus debt when you should do it. All these variables are very, very important and successful. Now we have to take a break at 7:25. When we come back, we're going to continue this conversation. You're watching CG Beyond Sports.
This is the Cleveland Gary Show on 104.5 WFLM, The Flame.
Sure, people have told you to make sure you have something to fall back on. Make sure you got something to fall back on, honey. But I never understood that concept, having something to fall back on. If I'm going to fall, I don't want to fall back on anything. I want to fall forward. I figure at least this way I'll see what I'm going to hit. You've decided that you're not going to allow your circumstances to define you. You've decided that you're not going to allow the events, the things, the people, life, determine who you become.
Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma was a true event that took place. A group of African Americans got together and created an economic system that created wealth amongst each other by circulating their dollars within their own community. They were so financially successful until they were bombed, beaten, many killed, resulting in destroying what was once known as Black Wall Street. The Black Shopping Channel is back on the street again to stay. Support the Black Shopping Channel vendors in this new fintech company that is connecting vendors to shoppers, resulting in circulating wealth back into the urban community. And hip hop, rap, and R&B music artists are reaching the world with their music at blackshoppingchannel.com.
Have you had a problem getting approved for a mortgage, car, or personal loan? You want a home, you want a car, but your Equifax, Experian, TransUnion credit reports are not satisfactory to lenders, so you're denied credit approval. If you or anyone you know have been denied credit approval in these areas, the answer is ECRIT, the new credit bureau that can validate your credit worthiness to get you approved through ECRIT's lending division, even if you've had a bankruptcy, foreclosure, or collections. For more information,
Karen?
Hello?
Karen, can you hear me? It's Jessica at the station.
Got it. I'm in.
Okay, you're in? Okay, good.
Yes.
home, or your new car. The Black Shopping Channel is America's first 24-hour minority TV shopping channel that aired on Dish Network in 14 million homes. Visit our website at www.blackshoppingchannel.com. If you're a small business owner and would like to sell your products on the Black Shopping Channel, go to www.blackshoppingchannel.com and sign up as a member. It's free. Upload your product, schedule live stream events, music artists, sell your music, and control your career. It's time to get in the game and start supporting our small business owners and music artists. Go to Black Shopping Channel and shop today. Black Wall Street Street is back at www.blackshoppingchannel.com. The Black Shopping Channel, giving back, moving forward.
Hey, make sure you listen to the Rick Smiley Morning Show weekdays, Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on 104.5 The Flame.
This is a paid advertisement. It does not represent the views of WFLM ownership, management, or staff.
This is the Cleveland Gary Show on 104.5 WFLM, The Flame.
Welcome back to CG Beyond Sports. I'm Cleveland Gary, host with Bill Houston, Julie Rogers, and Davina Smith. Interesting conversation. We talked about listening more, having an open mind, teaching classes when you break it down. But it was a great first half hour. And during the break, I was trying to fix my other iPad because I'm hoping my battery keeps its charge here. And so that's what I was doing. And I had to get another iPad here. Anyway, moving forward, Bill, what's been new in the area of ECRIT?
ECRIT is just a really good opportunity. We talk about this all the time, and when you think about this, and the number here is that 80% of people in America say that there is an inaccuracy on their credit report. I mean, that number in and of itself is staggering and overwhelming. And, ECRIT provides an opportunity for people to redeem, those credit dings, whether they're real or not. It gives you the opportunity to go back and to redeem that, and you understand the time frame in which to redeem it, and it's not 7 years. And I think that is incredibly powerful for people who may have made a mistake, or there may be a mistake made. And also the another benefit of ECRIT, which I think is really powerful, is the pay portal. And that pay portal allows you to reduce or eliminate completely those potential errors, because you are going directly to the portal, paying your bills. So there's no room for those errors or mistakes like there are with the big three. And I think that is very powerful. And that, as ECRIT continues to gain market share, that this thing is really going to blow up because it is super innovative and disruptive.
Yeah. And I'm excited about ECRIT as well. And with the relationship that ECRIT has with BSC, it puts us on a very accelerated path, because we can disseminate all the content that we need and want to disseminate to the public at large through the Black Shopping Channel. And that's a game changer, and for those of you who are investors, I just gave you a little bit of insight on what you're dealing with, because we are definitely in the business of doing mortgages, and our goal is to get people into homes. And when you're looking at an average home, $275,000, $300,000, and a person is out there working every day and making money, and when they go home or pull up their phone, some people have their expenditures on their phone, and they look at their rent, they look at their light bill, they look at their water bill, they look at their cell phone bill, they look at how much money they have to spend a month, they pay a month in buying groceries. And they may have, auto insurance, they have a car payment. And when you add all those expenses up, inclusive of your rental payment, you have so much money left over. And if you go and Google an interest rate on a $300,000 house, and it'll give you what your down payment will be at a market interest rate, and you can do a comparative analysis, and you will be surprised that a lot of people are paying a higher rent than they would be paying owning their own home. And that's pretty sad. It's pretty sad because they're not getting the bang for their buck. The hard labor and cumbersome hours they put in on their job, coming home every day, having to get up and go do the same thing again the very next day. And they're cutting themselves short. So at ECRIT, Bill, even you'll be teaching these classes, you know, in the area of managing your expenses, managing the growth of your personal finances, as opposed to managing the growth of your business, managing your personal finances. So you'll be giving a lot of insight on these things that are very, very important. And we'll also have 2 ways for you to improve, you know, your finances and even improve your, you know, your credit offshoot via ECRIT, because some people may have such bad credit, you know, where their income to debt ratio may not quite make it. But if we can help them in other areas, like with their other 3 credit bureaus and get them straightened out. We're at ECRIT, in other words, it's just not a place to get a home. It's a place to improve your financial condition. We'll offer the services of mortgages and auto loans and personal/business loans, but ECRIT is a really tremendous tool in the area of credit management, you know, managing your expenditures and being in a positive position versus a paycheck to paycheck position. And we know a lot of people can perceive what we're talking about in a very light manner. They can take it very lightly because so many promises have been made, so many broken promises, you know, with the existing system we live in has been made, and people are tired. So people know it's inevitable. You got to get up and you got to go to work if you didn't inherit money, and you don't have to sit down and work. You can sit down and do whatever you want to do. But we know, Davina, Julie, and Bill, that that's not the case in a lot of communities. People have to get up and go to work. But nobody said it was a crime. Nobody ever said, I've never read where it was a sin where people cannot have an abundant life. I never have, you know. And so our job, our goal, Julie and Davina and Bill, is to work and create innovative ways for people's financial situation to be better.
You know, I'm excited about that because I'm a person, I've never collected a W-2. I've never worked a 9-to-5 in my life. And as a result, I've lived a cash life my whole life. And so it was, you know, so funny, like with my landlord, when they were doing the check on me, and he's how come you don't have any credit cards? I have no credit card debt. And yet a low credit score, but it is a low credit score for lack of credit. And I was like, why are you punishing me because I didn't put myself in debt? It's like, the mentality is, you know, I'm paying my rent, you know, you talk to my landlord, my rent is paid, my lights are on, my phone is on, I pay my bills, my kids are fed, you know, I have a little bit of money in the bank and I have clothes in my closet. And yet I'm being penalized because I did not want to go in debt. And so I live in my means and I don't have credit cards. And it was like, why don't you, he like looked at me confused. Why don't you have credit cards? Because I live a cash life. And so I almost didn't get the apartment. And it actually took the referral of my previous landlord vouching for me to even get the apartment that I'm in. So to have a mechanism in place where you have people who are responsible, who pay their bills and are doing the right things and are not loaded down in credit card debt, to have an opportunity to be treated in a dignified manner, I think is a great thing.
You know, Julie, you couldn't have said it better. In all truthfulness, I mean, it is what it is. The bottom line is, you know, you choose not to have debt so you can have a comfortable life. You work every day, 9 to 5. It is your prerogative. It's your business. If you want to pay this cash, if you want to pay that off cash, but you live in a system that is very antiquated in the way it analyzes people who are deemed as creditworthy. And that is totally unfair. It's not right. It's unjust. And that's the system we live in. I mean, can you imagine the hundreds of thousands and millions of people that are turned down from getting a home because they don't have enough debt on their credit report. And that's crazy. You don't have enough debt on your credit report, so you get turned down because you're paying cash and you're being debt free. And biblically, the Bible says, owe no one, right? Owe no one.
No one but to love them. That's it.
So you're confined under a system that forces you to go accumulate debt in order to acquire things. So now you're up and you're running and you're moving, and you cannot sit down and be still and relax because you got to service that debt. You got what is called bills to pay. So I just think the system can be fairer. And with ECRIT being the new innovative fourth credit bureau with its own lending division, has a total different game plan than the other credit bureaus, or its counterparts, should I say. Proof of income is very essential, vital in the ECRIT system, as it relates to evaluating, you for a loan. Your ECRIT credit report is essential. Those two elements are essential. But the credit report's primary objective is to validate your credit worthiness based upon the fundamentals of expenditures that you need to live: water bill, light bill, phone bill, auto payment, auto insurance, rental payments. Now, you mean to tell me those bills are not enough to validate your credit worthiness if you're paying them on time and you are never late? Come on, give me a break. That's all the debt you need. Now, that's what is called needed debt. You don't need a credit card. It's if you get a credit card, then you get a mortgage, then you get this. I mean, come on, really. In other words, if you have credit worthiness attached to you, which you do, and you have proof of income to pay your bills, you should get a house at a good interest rate. You should get a car loan at a outstanding interest rate. You should get a personal/business loan at the best interest rate because you have validated your credit worthiness. And that's what I think I believe will change a lot of people's lives that take advantage of ECRIT, and it's always, it's free to sign up as a member, and you can create your own credit report. And in fact, before I even go further, I'll let Davina talk to you about the steps in becoming a ECRIT credit report holder, the bill pay system, and applying for a loan. And what she doesn't fill in, we got Mr. Bill Houston sitting up in the right corner. He'll just drive her in. He'll hit a RBI. It may not be a home run, but he's gonna RBI her in and reel you that answer that you need. I got to be a little stupid sometimes. Okay, it's enough.
So first you go to ecrit.com and you sign up for a free account and you put in your information, and then Bill, take it away.
F for the day.
Wow, I'm gonna need a triple to drive that run in. Yeah, absolutely. And then you can set up your ECRIT account, and get your ECRIT credit report started for as little as $100 as you move through that process, and you pay your bills through the ECRIT bill pay portal, which I think is a fantastic idea. And then you start the process of paying your bills. You pay the bills on time through the portal. As you get your bills paid over a period of time, you will work your way through the process, and eventually you'll be able to apply for a mortgage or for a auto loan or a home or business loan. One thing that I really wanted to say, and I don't know that I need to piggyback on this, but one of the things that Cleveland said that is so important is being able to live within your means. I know people right now today, friends of mine, who have said, oh, I need to go out and get a credit card to build my credit. And now they're like, oh my goodness, I've got all this debt on my credit card. And I was like, That's absolutely insane. And ECRIT provides a way for people who manage their money well and who live within their means to still be able to become credit worthy and demonstrate that credit worthiness through the bills that are absolute necessities. Nothing burns me up more than to hear people say, oh, I have all these bills. And I think to myself, you know what? There are some bills that we absolutely have to have, right? We have to in order to live. But all those other bills are bills that, that are luxuries. Those are things that you don't necessarily have to have. And in all fairness, I live a pretty boring life. If I have access to the internet and some books, I'm pretty good. But, understanding how to use credit, because credit can be a two-edged sword. It can be a deadly weapon, for you, or it can be a deadly weapon against you. Learning how to use credit correctly, to build wealth. That's what's really important. And I think that ECRIT really gives the opportunity for people to do that. And I really look forward to talking to people about how they can learn about credit and how to use credit, to help themselves build wealth. And the last thing I really want to kind of close with here is that, that both ECRIT and BSC give people an opportunity to work on their credit score, to work on building, a business, a home, getting an auto. And I think about my dad, and there's no human being that worked harder than my dad. And it was always, or what I came to learn is sometimes it's not how hard you work, but it's what you're working at that really counts. I know that was a dangling participle, but it really matters what it is that you're working hard to get done and to get accomplished. And, BSC and ECRIT are going to really provide a pathway for people to move their lives forward. And I think that is incredible, what this team is doing.
Yeah. Bill, I was sitting here listening to you, and one thing came to mind with BSC. And also, too, in addition to that, I thought about what Julie said earlier, that BSC is much bigger than Julie Rogers and Davina Smith, Bill Houston, and Cleveland Gary. It's much bigger than that. It's the mission behind the diversity. Is what BSC is all about. And I'm just thinking about some of the things that we're doing behind the scenes, even with HBCUs being 20% non-Black and 80% African American. And with Black Shopping Channel, our mission is the motto is moving. The motto is moving forward and giving back. And on all of the BSC, behind any BSC logo, you'll see moving forward, we're giving back. But our mission is about diversity, not taking focus off minorities, period. That way we can kill two birds with one stone. I don't like that word. I like maybe touching your face with two hands or something like that, killing two birds with one stone. That doesn't sound too cute. But anyway, it puts us in a position to globalize an ecosystem that has been inadvertently unfair, if you say the least, because when you look at per capita, the numbers as it relates to certain demographics, it's just been demeaned, to say the least. And so we want to focus on the global picture, not taking eyes off of the needs, because if we can globalize this thing, it puts us in a position to capitalize in such a way that we can be of better assistance to the least of these. And those are the small business owners, vendors, all the way down to certain zip coded areas. When you look at economic depravity, all you have to do is look at zip codes. There's so much to learn and to be taught in these classes. And I will be working with Bill in an offshoot way. And so people, it's nice to understand what you're dealing with, because when you know what you're dealing with, it gives you a mindset, Julie and Davina and Bill, to know how to deal with it. You don't know how to deal with something if you don't know what you're dealing with, right? So there's so much small business owners, they got the passion, they got the drive. They even know how to write a business plan. They understand, mission statements and all the variables in a business plan, but just understand the overall environment in which you live, where you are. Where should I put my business? Now we're in the area of digital media, heavily involved, catching up and understanding the total fundamentals of how to position yourself and your business in a very stern place to where you not only know that you know that you're in the right place to make money. So, because faith is very important, but without works, it's dead. So we want to make sure you have every ancillary tool that you need to be successful. And I'm excited about that because when it comes to BSC, because now we can move at a much faster pace on a global platform because there's so many consumers, in America that is anxiously waiting to buy your products and anxiously waiting for you to buy their product. So it's going to be a fun ride. I'm looking forward to it. And I'm excited about it. And so on that note, we'll get more into detail. As it relates to the playlist at BSC, I think Julie and I talked about this, all of us before the show during warm-up session here. It's going to be very tough and competitive, but very exciting. But the most important thing, very impactful for small business owners, because we'll have celebrities that have their own shows. We got commercials that we got to run. So we're going to have about 12 or 15 spots for vendors to come on the air. And most shopping channels, like when you have 110 million homes like we have and 250 million viewers as it relates to streaming, and OTA channels, you're normally making around $6,000 a minute, right, Julie? So we talked about somewhere around $6,000 a minute. So as a vendor, it's so exciting to say that because I'm not saying that for myself, I'm saying that for us. Because if you're a vendor, if you're selling your product on the channel and we're doing $6,000 a minute off, we, meaning all of us, you, the vendor, BSC collectively, and your percentage and our percentage, that's just straight up fairness. The numbers work for themselves and you're doing very well. $6,000 a minute, and you got a partner that's giving you a platform to stand in front of the global audience. And it's globally, it's bigger than $6,000 a minute. So domestically at $6,000 a minute, selling your hairbrushes, selling your jewelry, selling your cigars, selling your fashion, health products, man, you're in a position to really do well for yourself. And that's what this is all about. I'm excited about that. Julia Rogers.
I'm excited too. I love that there is the component, because I can remember, going to this forum and people were talking about scaling, and I'm thinking they're talking about weight. So the education is important, because when you are a grassroots person and you don't understand financial language, then a word like scaling, being able to scale your business, doesn't mean weigh your business down. It means to lighten it up and grow it up. And
no, it means to take a fork and wipe the scales.
Yeah, so yeah, so there's all of that. But I'm very happy that we have things like ECRIT, that we have an educational system that's being put in place so that so many times, because I've never worked a 9 to 5, often people ask me, about, how do you do it? 4 kids and clearly I've missed no meals, and, how did you survive? And and you've never worked a 9 to 5 job. And it really does have to do with getting your priorities in order. You have to reverse engineer your finances. People who get paychecks, they plan their money based on, how they're spending based on what they know is coming in the first of the month. Whereas a person like me has to sort of average out what I'm looking at, when my bills are due, set targeted goals for myself so that I hit my goals and I meet my financial obligations in a very faith-filled, challenged way, but also learning financial and capital language, which I'm still in a learning process of. So to know that there's an educational system that's
Right.
being put in place so that you don't put a product on the channel and it costs you $1 and you only charge $2, and then you wonder why you're not making any money because you didn't plan your costs and your pricing in a correct way. So that there's more to it than I make it for $1, I sell it for $2. There's more to it than just that. And there's a wisdom that has to be taught so that you plan correctly so that you don't inadvertently plan to fail.
Exactly. Yeah. Very important. Very important, Bill. Very important. Bill.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And understanding business is something that you do every day, something that I do every day. I learn something new every day. I continue to learn, and in the world we live in, you have to continue to upgrade because things change so quickly, especially, when they're being driven by technology. And I think understanding the opportunity that the totality of the Black Shopping Channel is going to bring to small entrepreneurs is enormous. And, I would say make sure that you get in, take advantage of every opportunity that BSC presents to you and, get in there and do it. Maybe this works for you, maybe it doesn't work for you, but learn as much as you can. And, as Cleveland said earlier in the show, sometimes, you absolutely have to improvise, but, understanding the fundamentals and knowing the fundamentals and basing your business on the fundamentals and then getting out there to improvise, that's what's really important. So, I'm really excited about the educational piece and, the platform and the ability to build a real business ecosystem.
Got it. Awesome. We're going to come right back. We got a break and then we'll say goodbye. Keep those dials locked. You're watching CG Beyond Sports.
This is the Cleveland Gary Show on 104.5 WFLM, The Flame.
Sure, people have told you to make sure you have something to fall back on. Make sure you got something to fall back on, honey. But I never understood that concept, having something to fall back on. If I'm going to fall, I don't want to fall back on anything. I want to fall forward. I figure at least this way I'll see what I'm going to hit. You've decided that you're not going to allow your circumstances to define you. You've decided that you're not going to allow the events, the things, the people, life determine who you become.
Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma was a true event that took place. A group of African Americans got together and created an economic system that created wealth amongst each other by circulating their dollars within their own community. They were so financially successful until they were bombed, beaten, many killed, resulting in destroying what was once known as Black Wall Street. The Black Shopping Channel is back on the street again to stay. Support the Black Shopping Channel vendors in this new fintech company that is connecting vendors to shoppers, resulting in circulating wealth back into the urban community. And hip hop, rap, and R&B music artists are reaching the world with their music at blackshoppingchannel.com.
Have you had a problem getting approved for a mortgage, car, or personal loan? You want a home, you want a car, but your Equifax, Experian, TransUnion credit reports are not satisfactory to lenders, so you're denied credit approval. If you or anyone you know have been denied credit approval in these areas, the answer is ECRID, the new credit bureau that can validate your credit worthiness to get you approved through ECRID's lending division, even if you've had a bankruptcy, foreclosure, or collections. For more information, go to www.ecrid.com. Create your own ECRID credit report by adding your light bill, water bill, mobile phone, auto insurance, and even rental payments. All validate your credit worthiness at ECRID. Go to www.ecrid.com and sign up today. It's free. Get the keys to your new home or your new car. The Black Shopping Channel is America's first 24-hour minority TV shopping channel that aired on Dish Network in 14 million homes. Visit our website at www.blackshoppingchannel.com. If you're a small business owner and would like to sell your products on the Black Shopping Channel, go to www.blackshoppingchannel.com and sign up as a member. It's free. Upload your product, schedule live stream events, music artists.
Wake up to the Rick
sell
Smiley
your
Morning Show
music.
on 104.5 The Flame.
This is a paid advertisement. It does not represent the views of WFLM ownership, management, or staff.
This is the Cleveland Gary Show on 104.5 WFLM, The Flame.
Welcome back to CG Beyond Sports. I've noticed it's 8 o'clock. We've run out of time, but at least we got the last advertising in. It was nice having you on the show, Bill, Julie, and Davina. I do appreciate it. We had an amazing time and look forward to working with all of you in the future. And those listeners who are listening, we thank you for tuning in at CG Beyond Sports, and we hope we can continue to bring exciting information, exciting news to you so you can grow, benefit, and learn. We are very, very appreciative of your support. And also those over at The Flame, Alice and Larry, as well as Karen, the engineers, the staff that makes this possible, because without them, this show would not be present. So we thank all of the members. It's all about teamwork. There's an old saying, they say, teamwork makes the what? Teamwork makes the what?
Dream work.
Dream work.
All right. Have a good evening. Talk to you later. God bless.
This is the Cleveland Gary Show on 104.5 WFLM.